Hey, good morning, my brothers and sisters. It's One Nation, George Bunny. And what I want to talk about today is I watched Cam Newton's podcast, which had Dr. Nuri Muhammad on. So I'm probably going to use some of the talking points that I heard during that podcast. The one thing that doing the podcast, what I kind of want to zero in on today is that, and I may age myself a bit because as I listen to them, and Nuri Muhammad said that in the '60s and in the '70s, he says, he said I heard how, that we call each other brothers and sisters. We like, what's up, my brother? What's up, my sister? And we created that family. And I got to thinking about it and how we gotten away from that. And I pretty much, like, from what I can tell, because I grew up in the 60s and 70s. Mostly I was a teenager in the 70s, so I had more awareness then. But in the 60s and 70s, when it was all about that. I'm Black and I'm Proud by James Brown. Curtis Mayfield, Choice of Colors, So I grew up in that environment. And I think, to me, a couple of things that pretty much started to negate our family closeness that we had was, a couple of things. One thing was we didn't have as many neighborhoods as we had. Because in my neighborhood, with everything that was going on, we were a predominantly black neighborhood. Nice homes, nice families. Some were better than others. Not like better off, but some families were, we call, whatever the square families, we had. And their kids didn't play with us, of course. But anyway, but we were still family. That whole block was a family. And we don't have a lot of that no more. There's not a lot. Most of the neighborhoods nowadays are integrated or broken up. There's a lot less black home ownership. We also have a lot more of our people that move out of our neighborhoods to better neighborhoods as they became more prominent, So that was something else too. But the thing that we lost in that was our family, our revolutionary attitudes. Because when we were all together, we knew what the fight was. We knew what the struggle was. And we talked about it amongst ourselves. We were community. Being spread out and pushed far apart, it changed that whole situation. Now, and there's been other factors too, because after the 70s and into the 80s, there were more black people in Congress, in Senate. I mean, hell, we had Jesse Jackson run for president, and he finished third. So those things themselves pretty much negated our fight, because it gave the sense that we had arrived, but we never did. We haven't arrived as of today, because we're still facing some of the same problems. The only difference is the oppressors are more crafty, they're more subtle, or they were, until Donald Trump, until this administration and these people. That changed everything, because they brought white supremacy straight out of the closet, and it's everywhere now. Hell, I mean, first day after he was inaugurated, they were sending out slave notices. And that was from somebody inside his administration. We know that. Or somebody connected. Even if they weren't in the administration, they were connected. We know that. Because the thing is, he ran on white supremacy. He ran on bigotry. He ran on racism. That's what he ran on. The eggs were a throw-in because, hell, prices up today on everything, and you don't hear not a peep from the Republican Party. They're sucking it all up. So all that eggs and high prices, that's all a fallacy. That was a fallacy. It was never about the economy. It was never about that. It was, they saw an opportunity to subjugate Latin people, black people, Asian people, Arab people, because they've been attacking on the attack against them since the day Trump came up the escalator to start calling Mexican people rapists and murderers. It kicked into gear then. I don't know how many, I mean, as far as I can tell, I mean, one thing I seen Mexicans raping was them damn oranges and apples off the trees and them tomatoes off the vine. There's no Mexican or black gang in this country that goes after white people. None. There may be some little things in our neighborhood that go on. Not little, some things are bigger than others, but there are things in our neighborhood. But we never have been known to go on an attack against white people. That's what they do. They attack us. They act like they can't. I mean, it's shocking. I mean, white people act like they can't stay away from black people. I'm always reminded to that line that Frederick Douglass gave when he told them, he said, all black people want you to do is to leave them alone. And that's all we want. But they can't. They have to interject themselves in on everything. Look at the Super Bowl. They were highly pissed that Kendrick Lamar didn't have not one white dancer. Well, it wasn't a white thing. I mean, hell, when certain white groups did the Super Bowl, they didn't have any black dancers. What is the problem? That's the other thing. White people are so much more race conscious than anybody. And it's just the stigma of they believe that they're superior. They believe that they're entitled. And basically, those are the beliefs. But the thing is, the entitlement thing is their biggest problem. They think they're entitled to what goes on in this earth. They don't think the black people in Africa deserves the minerals under their soil. It should be theirs. They don't think that the Africans should be asking them to leave their country. Because they'll say, we've done so much. You have. Yeah. King Leopold in Belgium, it's over 10 million African people dead behind him. African leaders that didn't agree with the imperialists disappeared. All kind of ways. In Africa, in America, even in Haiti. Thank God for Dessalines, he saved Haiti. But white folks believe that they're entitled. And my only thing is I could think of is like, I know I want to say it's Deuteronomy 20, verse 4 through 9. I'm going to have to double check. Is that it says, when you come upon a land, you approach the people in peace. If they choose to be your servants, you handle them in peace. But if they don't want to be your servants, smite all the men with your sword, and take the women, the children, the cattle, and the livestock, and do with them as you wish. And that's in the Bible. And I'm sorry, that's not the word of God. It's just not. So I don't know whether that was interjected during Roman times or whether when King James, when they revised the Bible, we don't know when, but that's not the word of God. But that's the word of God that they go by. They totally do not. White Christian Americans do not honor Jesus Christ. It's all Old Testament. It's all the hate, the fighting, the bigotry, the racism, the domination. They skipped the New Testament completely. And so it makes you wonder, like, what is your faith? Where is your faith? Or is your faith really real? I mean, it's real to you. It's real to white folks because they go by it hard. They believe they have the right to force everyone into Christianity. They believe they have the right to demean, degrade, and attack gay people. They believe they have the right to displace the Native Americans and take their land. They believe they had the right to enslave Africans. They believe they had the right to take the land from the Mexican people, take Texas, take Oregon, take California. They believe they had the right to do that. Hell, when they came to America, they didn't come here as explorers. Those are soldiers coming to conquer lands. That's how white Americans roll. They go to conquer lands. But see, now, the thing is, we're in the year 2025, and all those people that they stepped on their way up are wearing army boots on their way down. And now they want to cry victimhood. And we did so much. And no, you didn't. Just stop falsifying history. No, you didn't. America was never a righteous country. You claim righteousness, you claim godliness, but it was never that. Matter of fact, there was never a asking of God for forgiveness of the wrongs. Americans act like that didn't happen. That didn't matter. Now America and France and Europe have their panties in a bunch because Africa wants them out. They don't want to work with them anymore. They choose to work with the Russians, the Chinese, the Turkish, the Saudis, the Moroccans, anybody but Europeans and Americans. And now, as I said, they have their panties in a bunch. Now they're trying to get pissed, feeling like they've been victimized, that they're being treated badly. It's a bullshit selling point. You know, if they want to fool themselves and bullshit themselves, go ahead. But the rest of the world, that's not what you guys did. You didn't treat people like human beings. You didn't respect other nations. You didn't respect the character of men. You stole their stuff. You took their stuff from them. It was always invasions. It was never, let us go explore and meet these people and have Thanksgiving with them. Thanksgiving was never on the table. Never. And that's the problem of the white man. As black people, we can't fix none of that. We thought we could for these past 400 years, but as we can see, that's not what you guys want. That's why you chose Trump. That's why you're going back to your 1930s and 20s racism. That was a more comfortable time. But if you guys can go back if you want, Black people are not going back. Africa's not coming back to you. Black Americans have cut ties with you. Not ties as far as segregation, but the ties of trust are gone. We're not interested in trying to work with you guys to try and make things better, to try and assimilate. We're not interested in that no more. It's a worthless cause. It's been over 400 years, and it's still the same thing over and over again. Never any love, never any respect, never any acknowledgement for the accomplishments and the help that you receive from black people, Mexican people, Chinese people, and anybody else that came to this country and helped develop it. You have no love or respect for them. Everything is me, 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 mine, mine, mine. That greedy, capitalistic bullshit that's way, way too extreme. But instead of the people with the money that can make things happen, instead of that, they sow dissension in the lower masses. They make sure that the masses are divided, because they might give a few more, a little bit more, and give these people a little bit more, which is most of the time is the white folks. You give them a little bit more to keep them protecting you rich people. You give them a little more to keep them protecting you while you were doing your dirty work. But now them same people that you did that with, you're throwing them in a bucket with the rest of us. They hate it and it's hurting, but that's what's happened. The rich white folks of this nation have just discarded the poor white folks too. Y'all niggas too, in their eyes. You thought for all these years, from the time they took and put that whip in your hand, told you watch these folks, you thought that you was one of them, but you never were. You don't have money. You don't have status. You're not of their class, of their ilk. But see, that's something that us black folks, when I say we're done with you guys, we're done participating in the fallacy. It's time for us black people to nation up. Be one nation with the blacks in America, the blacks in Brazil, the blacks in the Caribbean, and the blacks in Africa, the blacks worldwide. It's time for us to turn our loyalty away from country, because we do. We are of this country, but we're not of the same nation. We're the subjugated nation, the discounted nation, the irrelevant nation. And I say that because the people in control of this country treat everybody that's non-white as irrelevant. And now they've tossed the poor whites in with us too. The ones that used to be middle class, the ones that used to have farms, they're not going to have that anymore. Because the global powers, the rich people of this world, the old money is moving on. They're going to greener pastures. You think Donald Trump is doing all this damage to America on his own? No. He's doing that in alignment with the old money. We are now going to become that third world country. They're moving on to greener pastures. That's why our U.S. treasuries are dropping, because it's over with. They're going to the gold standard. Gold is as of 2019, the Basel Accords made gold a tier 1 asset. It's the most dependable asset in the world right now. The dollar is not dependable anymore. They made sure of that. You know, while you guys are going through all your little racial conflicts and tearing up the Capitol, causing insurrections, attacking the lesbian people, attacking the black people, keeping all this confusion and all this fighting and all this social trash going on, it cost you. You'll never go back to the America it was before Trump. That's not coming back. That America is never coming back. The people have left. The money is gone. It's going to China. It's going to Africa. It's going to India. There are more people there, larger populations. The global south is all the Asian countries, all the black countries, all the Arab countries. All these rich people did was trick all you poor white people, and I'm saying poor, but I'm talking middle class and upper middle class. All they did was get you to sell yourself out. Because right now, black people are not worried about what happens with Mexican people, what happens with Asian people, what happens with white people. That's second and third tier worries. Our first tier worry is black people, African American people, Caribbean people, Brazilian people, Africans. It's about building our nation for this next roundup in the world, because we are the next one. You know, Africa has half of Africa's 1.6 billion. There's 1.2 billion people in Africa. Half of them are under 19. That's where the money's going. America has a declining civilization. Our workforce is all in the 40s. We have a low birth rate. Same thing is going on in Japan. Same thing is going on in South America. The only country, or Africa is a continent with a bunch of countries. They have the highest birth rate going. They are the new way. So all you people who have fixed your mind to think that because you're white, that you're always going to be a hegemon, that you are always going to be number one, that you were special, better than everybody else, baby, it's time to get woke.